Gaitu serves up his Roman surprise at dinner. How will the ancient recipe go down? This simple meal gives the crew a taste of Princess Julia's frugal life in Ventotene. Served as a canapé at a dinner party, it is pleasant enough. But it's a far cry from the rich food she would have enjoyed before her exile. A fitting punishment for the girl who dared to defy the emperor.
Well, this looks like a lovely, simple Mediterranean summer lunch. You know, to us actually looks very tasty, nice sort of thing to have on a hot day. But to Julia, this would represent denial for her, someone who'd been used to the social scene of Rome, to going to lavish dinner parties and so on. When she came to Ventotene, we're told that Augustus imposed a very frugal monastic regime on her. I'm sure Augustus felt a certain amount of vindictive satisfaction in knowing that probably for the first time in her life, his rebellious daughter actually had to do exactly what he wanted her to do.
We're trying to head for this shipwreck, which is in this area here.
The third wreck promises to be especially interesting.
Right. This is a beautiful wreck to go visit, particularly with all of the amphora spread out. A massive pile went down completely intact.
So you can see from these photographs, you've got the classic stacking.
Timmy has analyzed the ROV footage and identified the type of amphora found.
What we're looking at is probably a variation of this type. It dates from approximately the 4th century AD, comes from North Africa or modern-day Tunisia, and was in all probability carrying this very important condiment called garum.
The garum the amphorae carried was a highly prized commodity, a pungent fish sauce that was essential to Roman cooking. Two pints of the best garum could fetch the Roman equivalent of $1,000, so this ship would have been worth more than $60 million today. The wreck is incredibly well preserved, and the crew hopes to recover an amphora that still has traces of ancient garum inside. It's all hands on deck for dive number 3. But as they head out to sea, black clouds appear on the horizon.
In the harbor, you get a false sense of security. You think that, you know, it may have calmed down. Coming out, what's happening now, it's increasing. You can feel it increasing. It's not a dying wind, it's a wind that's picking up.
Today, the Mediterranean reveals its ugly side. The crew heads back to base empty-handed. In port, they meet up with diver Roberto Rinaldi, who never even left the shore.
No, we went out further than the lee of the island, and it's a wind that's not settling down. It's a wind that's getting much stronger. So
it's better we stop.
You'd be okay at 100 meters, but
no, it's not okay, because if anything happened, I mean,
yeah,
4-hour decompression, you don't get rid of it.
No, that's right. It's too dangerous.
this is June in the Mediterranean. We're meant to be dealing with heat waves and not with constant, strong northwesterly and persistent rain.
It's a discouraging setback for the team, but they have a backup plan.
We'll put a layer of
Timmy teams up with Gaitu to mix together a batch of garum.
Okay, sea salt. And Another layer of fish.
This valuable substance is made from nothing more than salt and fermenting fish.
Okay, a bit more salt. Okay, the last layer now. The actual preparation of garum is relatively unknown. There are various theories as to its consistency, as to its preparation, but this is our experiment, and hopefully in a few days' time we're going to see what, or taste what garum was actually like. Now you need to get a wooden spoon, okay? One of the crucial elements of this preparation are the entrails of the fish. It's the digestive fluids that help in the fermentation process. Of course, all this would have been done in a big vat. The garum factories were huge complexes by the seaside, and this preparation would have been done in a stone vat, and once mixed, the vat would have been covered for a few days. Okay. Where sees the sun most? I think we can leave it. Leave it here. Yes.
As the fish bake in the sun, their digestive juices leak out of the guts and start to break down the flesh. Soon the fish begin to ooze an oily slush. This is the garum. And it contains a powerful taste enhancer. Today we call it monosodium glutamate, or MSG. Glutamate triggers chemical receptors on the tongue that can make the brain crave it like a drug, which explains the passion for garum in Julia's time.
It was used quite ubiquitously across the whole empire, and certainly according to the cookbook we have from the ancient world, Apicius, he has garum featured in almost every recipe in there, even in the sweet things, which seems completely bizarre to us. When you've actually smelt the stuff, you sort of think, you know, God, what disgusting prospect of having this in custard.
Julia would have consumed garum nearly every day, but it's unlikely that the massive shipment from Africa was destined for her villa. So what was this ship doing at Ventotene? A new day dawns, but the wind and rain have not ceased. The weather is now threatening the success of the entire mission. The crew has just one day left on the island. But Timmy Gambin uses the time to explore the engineering masterpiece in the Emperor's transformation of Ventotene, the port.
This island had small sandy beaches, so anybody wishing to land would have had to anchor in the middle of the bay and take a small boat to land. The Romans, wishing to build something more permanent here, had to solve that problem, and to solve that problem they decided to build a formal port, and here we are standing on the outer seawall of this fantastic piece of Roman engineering. Rather than the traditional way of building large sea walls extending out into the sea, they decided to excavate a basin into solid rock.
Augustus's engineers picked the only spot on the island where the land meets the sea in a gentle slope. Here they started digging into the volcanic rock and carved out a deep basin 10 feet below the sea level. The workers excavated more than 120,000 tons of rock by hand, an incredible effort. But then came the most difficult task, removing the last of the rock so ships could enter the harbor. The sea level has risen by nearly 3 feet since Roman times, so much of the port's structure now lies hidden underwater. But the team has been given special permission to explore what's left of Augustus's work. Six feet down, they spot the original wharf where the ancient ships would have docked. They find huge boulders, which might have been used to tie up the ships. And as they near the tip of the ancient pier, they spot strange striations in the rock. They could be the tool marks of ancient Roman divers who dug out the entrance underwater. They had to hold their breath, dive down, and hack away at the rock with hammers and chisels until they'd carved an opening wide and deep enough for ships to pass.
Absolutely fascinating.
One of the most amazing things is the entrance. It's cut extremely deep into the rock.
I don't know, I cannot imagine how they could dig this in the water. Okay, this is soft as a rock, but it's a rock.
Yes.
So it must not be easy at all.
Those were heavy when we tried to pick up some.
The absolutely incredible engineering to get divers down 2,000 years ago to cut that channel. Those were the real divers.
Yeah, that's right.
Not us.
Augustus's port made Ventotene an important hub in the Roman trading empire, and it's still in perfect working order after 2,000 years. The port is the reason the now sunken ships were here. The question is, why did they perish so close to the safety of the harbor? In the afternoon, the weather suddenly clears, so Timmy and skipper Aaron